Hey, what's going on, guys? This is a solo podcast. You got me this week. I will have a guest next week joining me, but it is the end of the year, and I thought I would come by and drop my top 20 albums of the year. And yeah, maybe you stumble upon something you haven't checked out yet, and yeah, maybe you find a new favorite record from this year, and you can carry it with you to the next one. So this is no particular order. That is way too difficult to do these days. Simply put, 20 albums, take them or leave them. And yeah, these are the ones that stood out to me. But before we jump into that, a reminder that I have $20 off your first time order over at SeatGeek using promo code Denning at checkout. Also over at emailsnotdead.com using promo code Denning20, you get 20% off your entire order. Shout out to the whole team over there, Matt, Gavin, everyone. So kicking us off at number one, we got Spiritbox with Tsunami Sea. This is exactly the album that Spiritbox needed to make at this point. I remember when this came out, I thought, even if you are not a Spiritbox listener, you're at the very least a Spiritbox appreciator. The build up on Black Rainbow is without question one of the best moments on the album by far. It is awesome. Coming in next is Deftones with Private Music. This was a great year for the band. They had a completely packed out arena tour that felt like an entire movie, and with the release of their 10th full length album, they're as popular as they've ever been. Definitely seemingly the most excitement I've seen in well over a decade. I think this is going to be an album that everyone continues to appreciate more and more as time goes on, as there's just a lot of stuff going on, especially with the guitars and production. They definitely had a firm grasp on rock radio this year, and they actually had the top 6 songs on Billboard's Hot Hard Rock Songs. Anecdotally, I feel like I heard Infinite Source at least once every other day for the last couple months. Coming in next is Killswitch Engage with This Consequence, one of the greatest metalcore bands of all time, without question. They continue to make a big splash this year as they gifted us with one of the most anabolic tours of the year, bringing out Fit for a King, Kublai Khan, and Frozen Soul. This Consequence is the band's 9th full-length album and delivered everything I like about them and more. It's fast, heavy, anthemic, positive. I Believe and Collusion are definitely up there for some of my favorites in the Killswitch catalog. I cannot wait to see them again live. They crush it every single time. Speaking of Fit for a King, their album Lonely God came out this year, and it is their 8th album, and it feels absolutely surreal. They are on album number 8, and their slow rollout to this album had me itching for it. And I suspect other people felt the same way. This is one of those albums where I'm looking forward to seeing them play it front to back and then come out for a greatest hits encore. They literally just did that on this most recent headlining tour. It didn't come close to me, but it, to my understanding, it was their most successful tour to date, which is awesome. They have worked extremely hard to get where they are now, and I am looking forward to a Portland date in 2026 so I can soak this one up live. Next is Memphis May Fire with Shapeshifter. This album was slowly released song by song, which I think really paid off in holding my attention throughout the year. Songs like Chaotic, Shapeshifter, and Overdose are without question setlist staples. I had a blast catching the band rip these songs live over the summer at their headliner in Portland and the Warped Tour in DC. Speaking of Overdose, I loved how they managed to get Christian from Blindside to jump on and rip a absolutely fantastic guest spot. I really hope they tore the brakes off this album, and maybe we get an album way down the line. I really want to see them play this one over and over and over again till they really just get tired of it. Turnstile, Never Enough. I love all the success that they've had this year. They really were on top of the world. They played the biggest stages to date and became a lot of people's new favorite band. I love they're still playing all the tried and true classics from the beginning of their set list. Songs like Birds and Never a Nunth will have you moving and grooving at a frantic pace, so get your cardio up. Oh yeah, by the way, did anyone else see where Elton John was mentioning that this album was in his rotation this year? That is absolutely crazy, and it doesn't get any crazier than that. Shout out to one of the best music managers in the game today, James Vitalo. Currents, All That Follows. This one is an EP, and it just recently dropped, maybe about 6 weeks ago. But boy, oh boy, this is even more material they have in their arsenal to play in a live setting. Currents is one of the toughest bands to play after on a bill, as it feels like the walls are shaking and they're about to fall in when they're playing. It really does feel unfair. Who knows? Maybe a track like It Only Gets Darker might actually stop a show. Currents is definitely headliner ready, as they just announced a massive co-headliner with Era for the spring. You will definitely catch me at that one. Cannot wait. Big venue time. Next up, Fox Lake, New World Heat. I've got to give a big high five to one of the best publicity firms in the game, Adam Splitter PR, as they put me onto this album and threw me the ball to really dive into this one with one of my favorite podcast episodes of the year. This is a nod to nu metal in the best way, with tracks like Go for the Throat, pure adrenaline that'll have you want to jump off of something. Even better, this album had me go back and check out their EP from 2023, which had one of my favorite Fox Lake tracks, Higher. If you like turntables with your certified Pit moments, this is definitely a must listen. Speaking of Pit, Gridiron, Poetry from Pain. I played the living daylights out of this album. In fact, if private copies counted towards Spotify Wrapped, this might be top 3. If you love bands like E-Town Concrete, Pain of Truth, and Never Ending Game, you didn't do this 2025 right if you didn't spin this. It's that good. Gridiron hardcore is hard as nails, and if you are not familiar, get familiar quick. They really bring it live. They are not to be missed. Dayseeker, Creature in the Black Night. I love how wildly successful Dayseeker is at the moment. Again, this is a band that worked relentlessly year after year after year. And after the success of Sleep Talk and Dark Sun, they continue to take it one notch higher here. Absolutely insane hooks here, especially on the title track in Pale Moonlight. The production on this album is insane. I'm really looking forward to catching this album live. Bury Tomorrow, Will You Haunt Me with That Same Patience? This is their best album, hands down. I think this album is going to be one that has metalcore fans remembering why they like this band and why they bring it. Villain Arc definitely should be all over top metalcore lists for this year and gym playlists everywhere. So good. The Devil Wears Prada with Flowers. This band has done so much over their long career, and I love the direction they took on this record. Sure, there's heavy stuff like All Out, but there's a lot of hook-driven songs like So Low that has just been really just stuck in your head, whether you're on a drive or just walking around. I think there's going to be some fans who didn't care for this record at first, and it's going to click down the road. You're like, oh yeah, I really like this record. I forgot why I didn't like it at first. And by the way, that bonus track at the very end, good stuff. Love that. Bless the Fall with Gallows. Talk about a return. It has been a long time since we've had a Bless the Fall album. Everything you love about this band, they've taken it and cranked it a notch higher. Wake the Dead, Drag Me Under, and Light the Flame stood out the most. Jared, if you are by chance hearing this, you went off on this one. Holy smokes. Your vocals were awesome, dude. We Came as Romans, All is Beautiful Because We're Doomed. I don't even care if you pause this and forget to come back. Definitely go check this album out. I feel like this one was very underappreciated and didn't get enough attention and love. There's some really awesome stuff here that I really enjoyed seeing on the band's headliner this year. Songs like No Rest for the Dreamer and Bad Luck went extremely hard, especially when you consider the production they always bring and how flashy that is. And man, they just really throw everything out there live. I'm really looking forward to them coming back again and hearing more songs from the album. Um, Speaking of bands that haven't come through in a while, A Day to Remember with Big Ol' Album Volume 1. A lot of people had this record at the very top of their Spotify Wrapped, and for good reason. It's incredible. For the entire 40-minute runtime, it's all gas, no breaks. And this shows exactly why they're one of the greatest rock bands in the entire world. They have songs that give everyone exactly what they want. Everyone. Whether it's the heavy bangers like To the Death or party anthems like All My Friends. Big Ol' Album Volume 2 must be floating around somewhere. It just has to. Maybe 2026 will give us what we want. Silverstein, Antebloom, and Pink Moon. This band is celebrating 25 years of noise this year and also celebrating a double album. With the success of these albums, it is no surprise that they literally wrapped up an extremely packed out tour. 25 years in, and they continue to bring more and more fans into the fold. At this point, it's more of a they didn't play everything I wanted to hear, but I wanted to hear everything they played type of situation. Long live. They're going to be doing so many awesome things next year, and I can't wait. Drain. Drain is your friend. This album is a straight shot of pure, positive hardcore right into the veins. Drain is one of the most insane live acts out there, and I loved every single second I got to see them this year, whether it's at the Warped Tour in DC or a sweaty hardcore club in Portland. If Stealing Happiness from Tomorrow and Who's Having Fun doesn't hook you, not sure what will. Thanks for being our friend, Drain. Next up is Grayscale with The Heart. They released this one independently after leaving Fearless Records, and The Heart has taken the band to so many awesome places this year, including tours with Mayday Parade and Our Last Night. This album with tracks like Kept Me Alive is awesome just as it is, but they just released a deluxe edition with guest vocals from Aaron Gillespie, Dan Campbell, Derek Sanders, and a lot more. Fans of the band like the band Camino, The Main, and a lot more should be all over this one. They are actually opening up for The Main next year, and that's going to be a great tour to go to. Definitely snag your tickets before they sell out. And then last up is Yellowcard with Better Days. It has been far too long since we got an entire full length from Yellowcard, and man, it did not disappoint. I am so pumped they didn't stay broken up, because this album is easily some of their very best. Take What You Want, Honestly I, and the first ever Rock Radio #1, Better Days, are so damn good. Long live Yellowcard. See you this summer with New Found Glory. It's going to be awesome. So that was my top 20 albums of the year. Again, in no particular order. If there was a record that you haven't listened to yet, definitely go stream it, maybe pick up some merch online, and then go see them on tour next year. It is going to be a great next year. We got some records already confirmed for next year that are going to go off. We got Lionheart with Valley of Death 2 that comes out on January 9th. I've heard the entire record. It is an absolute monster of a record. It comes at you and just doesn't stop. Story of the Year with Arson in February. New Found Glory with Listen Up comes out in February as well. The All American Rejects with another album in about March. Don Broco is supposed to come out with an album in 2026. Bill Murray should have an album out next year. August Burns Red with their 10th full-length record is coming out. That is going to be early album of the year contender. No Pressure is coming out with a new record next year. Motionless in White should have a new album, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get Big Ol' Album Volume 2 from A Day to Remember. So again, that was my top 20 albums of the year, and then some albums coming out next year. If you enjoyed this short podcast episode, definitely do me a favor and subscribe wherever you like the podcast, whether it's Spotify, YouTube, Apple, wherever, and definitely give this show a 5-star rating and review, as it really does help people discover the podcast for the first time and just check out what I'm doing here. So with that being said, my name is Jake Denning, signing off, and I will see you next week. Peace.